What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Biker Mike Motors. Good morning. We are got something new for the channel today. First time on this channel, I'm going to be bringing to you one of the cars that I bought that we're getting ready to sell. And I've had this car over a year, probably close to 2 years now. Just been daily driving it. Yeah, it's been a great car, but I just kind of want to show you the last couple things I had to do to it here. Kind of like a little bit of a final clean, oil change. Then it's going to be up for sale. So let's get right into it.
All right, guys. I'm going in. Oh. Well, first step we got here is to drain the old oil out. And I hope this camera angle's coming out okay, because it's the first time doing anything like this underneath a car, videoing. So we got our oil pan drain bolt right here, which is a T45. I don't know how well that's going to come out on camera either, but hopefully you can see that. This is always kind of a game of how fast can you get the bolt out of there without spilling any oil on yourself, or as little oil as possible. So got my shop rag here. We got our drain pan. We're going to go ahead and get this off, get this oil drained. She's already coming out, so this might be a messy one. All right, let me see what I can do here. I'm gonna try to, man, if you guys got any suggestions how to do this without spilling extra oil on yourself, please let me know. But I'm gonna do this the best way that I know how. And not the worst, not my worst, not my best. Not my worst, not my best. But we are getting that old oil out of there. I always usually use Mobil 1 full synthetic. And they call Mobil 1 full synthetic oil calls for 10,000 miles between oil changes. Now, I don't normally let it go that long, but it says you can. This one has probably had a little over maybe about 5,000 miles, 5,500 miles on it on this oil change. But that's about as much as I like to let them go. About 5,000 miles for the ones that say 10,000 miles. 10,000 just sounds too much to me. They actually have a 20,000 mile oil too, but that just seems a little scary to me. So a little too many miles on one oil change. But she's coming out, and hopefully this oil pan will be big enough, because it is filling up pretty quick. But yeah, they're slowing down, so we should be good. Just put this way just a little bit. We'll go ahead, let that drain out completely. All right, we let it drain for a few minutes and come to a slow drip now, so I think we're good. Put the drain plug back in. Always hand tighten it first. Start it off by hand to make sure you're not cross-threading anything. Take a rag, wipe off the excess oil there. And then we just gotta find our wrench and tighten her back up. Don't take a lot of torque on these. I think they're only about 20 foot-pounds or something like that. So just get it nice and snug, give it a little extra. Should be good. We'll give it one more wipe down. And now we'll move on to the top. Next step is to get this oil filter, which is pretty conveniently located on this model, right on the top here. It can be a tiny little bit of a mess sometimes. You get a little bit that leaks down, but we're gonna do our best to be careful with it. And I got rag here. Always want to keep an extra rag or two around. We got our Fram ultra synthetic oil filter, which is not the kind I would normally use, but it was the best they had in stock, so that I felt was the best they had in stock. So that's the one I ended up getting. This right here on the top of the cap, you can use a 32 millimeter to get to this. And to get to it, you're gonna wanna give yourself a little extra room and pop this cover off. So to get this cover off, there's no screws or bolts. It's just held in by some push tabs. And you just get your finger under there, and if it's been on here for a while like this one, it'll feel pretty tight, but if you work it, there it goes. You'll feel it pop up. Oh yeah. And come loose. So we got the other side. Do this side now. And she's off. And just to show you guys what I was talking about here, these holes here, they fit over these little knobs here, and that's what actually holds that cover on. So it's actually a pretty good idea. Save some time. You're not having to unscrew anything just to get the, you know, cosmetic cover off the engine. So let's go ahead, take our 32 millimeter wrench, put it on here. I was the last one who did this, so it should come off easy. I didn't over torque it or anything. At least I try not to. And she's good and loose to get her off by hand now. We'll go ahead, take this filter out and get it ready. And bear with me here because I am doing this one-handed. Alright. And I think they call these these are cartridge filters. They're not your normal filters. I shouldn't say normal, but the ones that I'm used to seeing, maybe you guys are too, that are all one unit and they just screw on. These have a, you know, separate cover, and then you cartridge area, and you put this into the cartridge. So we'll go ahead and finish getting this off here and get the rest by hand. And I always let these like this that are pointed you know, down, where they're going to be dripping down on top of the engine, I always pull them up a little bit and just let them drip a little bit first, if there's any residual left in there. And if the car hasn't been running a little, chances are it's not going to be much, because it's all already dripped back down. But just to be as clean as possible doing this job. And as you can see, it has this built-in plunger device here. We'll go ahead, and the filter slides off over that. Oh, don't go too far, buddy. Don't go too far. Put that back up there. And as you can see, filter not look too bad, but it's been in there a little over 5,000 miles, and to me that's long enough. So we're gonna go ahead and put this one back in the box from the new filter, because that's gonna be trash. And we will put our new filter, install it over the plunger area here. These are let's see, I think these can go, yeah, these can go either way, because it's the same on each side and the filter's the same. So it doesn't matter which way goes first. Just the most important thing is you go over that plunger thing. Make sure you're not forcing it at all. It should go in there relatively easy, and then you see that pop, it kind of pops into place, and you can feel it. It's not just gonna come out now. It's seated in there. So go ahead and realign everything here. Make sure you get that plunger into that hole right there. Definitely don't want to get that bound up. And once it's in there, get to screwing. I like to hand screw everything at first, just to make sure I'm not cross-threading it, threading anything. But we got that hand tight. We'll take our wrench, switch it to righty-tighty. Get her tightened up. You don't want to put too much torque on that. Usually one hand with a little bit of muscle at the end will do the trick. And I think they're only about maybe 20 pounds, same as the oil drain plug. You don't want a lot of torque on that, especially being a plastic piece. So we will be moving on to the next step. All right, guys, I lied. We're not on to the next step yet. As soon as I shut off the camera, I realized that I skipped a little bit of a step that's, to me, is pretty important. The O-ring, which goes around this cartridge here, is the new filter comes with a new O-ring, and I pulled this back off because I hadn't changed it out with the new one. The old one was still on it. Not a huge deal, I guess, to everybody, but to me it is. So we went ahead, pulled it back off. Pulled the old O-ring off. I usually stick a pick in there and kind of slide it off, and then slide the new one over. And I always grease up the new one before I put it on with either some Vaseline or oil. So we got that all done, and we're gonna put this back in. And now, I promise, be on to the next step. And the final step: fill it back up with oil through the oil cap. I think this car calls for about 5.5, 5.8 quarts. somewhere 5.5 to 6 quarts. So we'll put about a little over 5 in it, check the level, see where it's at, and then top it off from there after we run it for a second. So I'll show you guys what kind of oil I got for this thing. Got the a little more expensive, but I'm big fan of spending a little extra on good oil. Just think it goes a long way with any car. So we got the European Mobil 1 car formula 5W40, which is what the car calls for. Like I said, 10,000 miles guaranteed between oil changes, but I usually go about half that. Just 10,000 seems like a lot to me, so I usually go about half that. And we got 6 quarts in here, so let's get them in there. All right, guys, we got about 5.5 quarts in here now. Hope you guys like that time lapse. I just learned how to do that. But we're gonna go ahead and cap it off, start it up, let it run for a couple minutes, and then shut it back down. Measure the oil, make sure we're good. So all that looks good there. Everything's out of the way here, so nothing's gonna hit anything. All right, let's jump in here and fire her up for a minute. And there's the mileage, 129, 118. So the mileage for when the oil was just changed. She sounds good, sounds good. Let you guys hear for yourself, tell me what you think. We'll let this run for another minute or so, and we'll check that oil, check the oil level. So we're gonna go ahead, back her off these ramps, which I love those ramps right there. Make oil changes so much easier and safer, in my opinion, than putting it up on the jack. So we're gonna go ahead, always put the e-brake on. Put it in reverse, and we'll slowly back it off these ramps here. And we're off. Shut her down. And we'll get a final reading on the oil. Whoa, look at that too. We were, looks like I'm gonna need a little bigger pan for oil changes in the future, because it's a little too close for comfort for me right there. Woo. But we'll give her a couple minutes to settle and check the oil, make sure we're good. All right, guys, we got about 6 quarts in there now, and final oil check here. Just to make sure we got it in spec, and I like to get them to the top of the hash mark right now. As you can see, it's about in the middle there. I'm not sure if that's going to come out because that oil's really clean. It's hard to see on the dipstick, but about halfway, a little over halfway up the hash marks there, which is in the normal range. So we're going to go ahead and take it for a test drive, and I'm going to bring you guys with me for that test drive. All right, guys, about to head out on the final test drive before we get this thing listed for sale. So if you're watching this, it's probably already for sale, but this is a 2014 Volkswagen Jetta that I got from IAAI Auctions about 2 years ago now. I got it with 118,000 miles on it, and it has now about 129,000 miles on it. So I put a little over 10,000 miles on it, and guys, it's been a great car. I actually am kind of sad getting rid of it. It gets great gas mileage. It's comfortable to drive. The AC's cold. It was listed as a storm flood damage, and it is a salvage title. Guys, salvage title. This car is a salvage title. Right now, it is a rebuilt title because I got here in Alabama, we have to get a salvage inspection where an inspector comes out and makes sure the vehicle is all set and, you know, roadworthy. So they come by, do an inspection, and if everything passes, they put this on there saying that it has been transferred from a salvage to a rebuilt title. So this is actually a rebuilt title car. And as far as the flood storm damage, I never had any. I went through all the fluids in this car. I checked all underneath the carpets, all my normal flood procedure stuff, and I could not find any signs of water. I bought the car sight unseen, so it was a little bit of a gamble, but when I got it here, it was running fine. And I put over 10,000 miles on it. And like I said, it kind of makes me sad getting rid of it because it gets such good gas mileage. It's comfortable to drive. Air conditioning is cold. The couple things that I did do to it is I replaced the trunk. There was a big dent here in the trunk when I got it, and I found a color match trunk online. It's not perfect. It does have a little dent here, but way better than the condition that was the one that was on there. And I think I picked that up for only about $100. So that was one thing that I did replace. The battery, I put a new battery in it because the battery was pretty dead when I got it. So I did put a new battery in it. The tires were good when I got it. It's got a set of Goodyear all seasons on it with good tread. Oh, hell, hubcaps. I bought hubcaps because it came with some black and red kind of janky ones, and one of them was broken, so I figured I would go ahead. These are not the OEM ones, but they're OEM replicas, and the OEM ones, believe it or not, are over 200 or about 200 plus for a set. So I got these for about a little less than $100. I think about $80, $90 I got these for. Car does have its little dents and scrapes here and there. This is the worst side. The other side's better condition, but does have, as you can see, some dents and scrapes there. The biggest paint chip on this car, and like I said, this car cosmetically is not in the greatest shape, especially for a 2014, but it's not bad either. You got a pretty significant chip up here, and that's the biggest paint chip in the car. And I want to almost highlight the negative stuff more than I do the positive stuff. So, because I'm going to link this video in the ad for the car as well. So anybody looking for it, you know, looking at this car as a potential buyer, you can watch this video and you can see, you know, come look at it yourself to see. I'll always encourage anybody that's, you know, interested in buying anything to come look at it, put your eyes on it, drive it yourself, make sure it's something that you will be happy with. But I'm trying to highlight the bad stuff with this car to kind of give you an idea, you know, so you don't waste your time coming out here to look at it if it's something that you won't be happy with. But like I said, this side's in better shape here. No real dents or anything there. And I think I'm yapping enough right now. Let's get in this thing, take it for a test drive. It's clean, guys. Like I said, it's clean. Another thing, the headliner. This car's been out in the sun a lot in its short life. And you could tell from a few different things, but one of them is the headliner coming down. The glue has failed. It holds it up. Probably an easy fix, but just something I am not going to get to. I'm going to put it up for sale as it is with that. The seats are in good shape. It's not factory floor mats, but it's got some good floor mats in it. Not that that matters too much, but air conditioning is cold. Radio works. All the windows work. We'll go ahead and get it out on the road here. Show you guys how this thing drives. It drives very smooth, gets very good gas mileage. No check engine lights or any lights on the dash. Just a seatbelt light, which reminds me, I need to buckle up. Now we have no lights on the dash. And we gotta be careful pulling out of here because people come flying around that corner right there. But I'm just gonna go for a short test drive over this way. You guys can see how she does. Actually a pretty peppy little car too for a little 1.8 turbo. I mean, it moves along good. And like I said, guys, I got this car with 118,000 miles on it, and it's got 129 now. So I put probably close to 11,000 miles on it. I've had this car on multiple trips that are, you know, 1-2 hours one way and 4-hour round trips, and it's been great. It's just been a great car. Not enough good things to say about it, and I'm gonna be kind of sad getting rid of it. I actually already started looking for another one this morning because I'm gonna see maybe if I can find the one thing this car doesn't have, which I'm a big fan of in any car, is a sunroof. And also, I wish it was stick shift. But if I could find a stick shift, one of these with a sunroof, oh guys, it probably wouldn't be leaving the driveway, or I'd probably be keeping that one for a little while. But that's what I'm looking for at the moment.
And we're just going on a quick test drive here. If anybody's serious about buying this car, you know, stop by and we can go on as long a test drive as you like. I'll fill it up with gas and we can drive all around for the whole day. But we, for now, for this video, that should show you, give you a good idea of this car and just how good of a car it is. You know, anybody interested in a good gas saving A to B daily driver car, this is it. With heat, air conditioning, you know, good stereo, all the options work, no mechanical issues, car shifts good, drives good, and that's all I got to say. That's all I got. I could go on and on about how much I love this thing, but if you guys are interested, please let me know, and if not, I appreciate you watching the video. We got actually got to get back to the house for an auction right now. I got a couple things to bid on, so we're gonna wrap this up here. Appreciate you guys watching. If you like it, please consider liking, subscribing, and sharing. And until the next one, you guys stay safe.